Do you follow that? Like, right, like because am secure, I am less stressed out. I'm less anxious. I don't have as much depression and just I'm not walking around in a constant state of fear. So there's an emotional dimension to this. And I think that that's a beautiful definition because when I think about security and why security matters, the reason security matters is because you feel more peace. Thank you, Terrence. That's a great term. You have peace. You're like at peace. Like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be okay. And if you think about this, right, what happens in our society, in my opinion, is that rather than getting actual security, we get other forms of security that are sold to us that may or may not give you the type of security that you're looking for. That may relieve your anger temporarily, but it creates what is called a false sense of security, right? Like think of like a false sense of security ain't the same as actually being secure. What are examples? Well, a lot of people think they use terms like job security. Okay, if I get this job, I'm playing it safe because I'm going to be secure because I got this paycheck coming from the post office or the corporation or whatever. And I can tell you as a person who's into the economic thing, there's no such thing as job security. If you don't know that by now, you should probably pay attention, especially in the age of AI. People they're cutting people left and right. The government's cutting people left and right. DEI, if you have any sort of DEI related anything, that's being cut left and right. Um, Black people have always been the ones to get fired off. So that's a false sense of security, in my opinion. Another example, another place where we get security from, because we don't feel like we can get anywhere else, might be from going to church. So you might have, and I'm not saying you shouldn't go to church. I think church is a wonderful place. I think spirituality is a beautiful thing. Um, but then sometimes it can become a little bit of a little bit ridiculous in that I feel that because I am praying about this problem and I'm not addressing it, I'm using the prayer as a way to avoid taking direct action. I think that's when it becomes a problem. Like what they say, prayer without works is dead. So I'm not in any way assaulting or insulting the religion inside of us. I think a connection to God is really powerful. I connect to God every day, but faith without works is dead. Thank you, Maya. Right? If you're not confronting the issue and creating actual physical security or whatever type of security you actually need, the praying about it really doesn't fix anything. And sometimes I'll see that where things will happen and people will just say, I'm going to pray for you, or I'm going to pray about it. But at some point you have to do something about it. Right. So security is related to higher the risk, the more security you need. Tell me if you agree with this statement. Would you agree that Black people are in a riskier position in our society than other groups of people? Would you agree with this? Would you agree that we are in a riskier financial situation? Would you agree that we're in a riskier physical situation in terms of threats from physical violence, police, sometimes other Black people, crazy white folks, right? Whatever, right? And so if you agree that we're in a position of greater risk, then I would argue, and tell me if you agree with this. I want to connect dots here so we can really follow along. And I want you to follow along not because I said it, I want you to follow along because you said it. I want because you're like, oh, I get it now. I understand this. This is what I believe. So let me ask you this. Tell me if we can agree on this assessment. Would you agree that because our risk level is higher, we of all people should really focus on our security, probably more than other people? Would you agree with that? Yes or no? Would you agree that perhaps the next movement in the Black community, maybe it needs to be called the Black security movement or something, right? The financial security movement, the physical security movement, security, right? Maybe that's what Chris Rock, he said that in a movie, right? So I think I would argue that about this in terms of saying, okay, what's our problem and what's the solution? I think security is something that we should think a lot about.